Hi, honey. Welcome to Coffee with Mimi. Today, we're going to talk about something a little different. Something I've noticed for years. And the more I think about it, the more fascinating I find it. Animals. Because I really believe animals know a lot more about us than we give them credit for. They may not understand our words, but I think they understand us. They notice our tone, our body language, emotions, our energy, and sometimes I think they notice things about us that we're trying very hard not to show. Have you ever noticed this? Have you ever walked into a room and had a dog immediately come running towards you? Or had a cat decide that you're their new best friend? Or noticed an animal become nervous around someone while being completely relaxed around somebody else? Animals are incredibly observant. They pay attention to things we don't always realize we're communicating. The way we move, the way we speak, whether we're tense or relaxed, whether we're approaching them confidently or cautiously, and they respond to those signals. That's part of why I think animals can sometimes seem like little emotional detectives. They don't need us to explain ourselves. They're watching. My deer story. And this is something I've personally experienced so many times that it always makes me smile. I live near an area where we sometimes have deer in our backyard. And I'll go outside and sit on my deck. And it seems like every time I go outside, the deer come out. Now, could there be another explanation? Absolutely. Maybe they're simply accustomed to the environment. Maybe I'm outside at the same time they're naturally moving through the area. Maybe they smell something. There are a lot of possibilities. But I still have those moments where I sit there quietly and a deer appears. And I feel this incredible sense of peace. And whether that is the deer responding to me or simply me responding to the deer, that feeling is real. And I think that's worth paying attention to. My friend's dogs. I have a girlfriend with 2 dogs, and every time I go over there, those dogs practically climb into my lap, both of them. And it makes me laugh because they don't know my life story. They don't know what I've been through. They don't know what kind of day I've had. They just respond to what's happening right now. And I think there's something beautiful about that. Animals aren't sitting there thinking about yesterday. They're not worrying about next Tuesday. They're experiencing what's happening in front of them. And maybe we could learn something from that. Can animals sense our emotions? Now, I want to be careful about something here. I believe animals are incredibly sensitive to human emotions and body language. And there's scientific evidence that many animals can recognize human emotional cues and respond differently depending on what they're sensing. But when I talk about energy, I'm also talking about something more personal, something I experience, something I believe. When I'm calm, I notice animals seem comfortable around me. When I'm excited, they respond differently. And when someone is anxious or afraid around an animal, sometimes you can see the animal react to that tension. That doesn't necessarily mean animals are literally measuring some mystical vibration coming off of us. It may be things like scent, posture, facial expressions, voice, movement, or other signals that we're not consciously aware we're giving. But whatever the mechanism, they're picking up on something. They don't judge our past. And here's one of the things I love most about animals. They don't care what you've accomplished. They don't care what kind of car you drive. They don't care how much money you make. They don't care about your mistakes. They don't care what other people think about you. They meet you where you are. And if they trust you, they love you. There's something incredibly healing about being around an animal that simply wants to sit beside you. No questions, no judgment, no expectations, just presence. When you're having a hard day, have you ever noticed that sometimes animals seem to know when you're having a rough day? Maybe your dog comes and lays beside you. Maybe your cat curls up next to you. Maybe your pet stays unusually close to you. And I think there's something really beautiful about that. Even if we don't understand exactly what they're sensing, they're offering companionship. And sometimes companionship is exactly what we need. You don't have to explain everything. You don't have to find the right words. Sometimes you just need someone beside you, and an animal can give that to you. What I think we can learn from animals. I think animals can teach us something about being present, about responding instead of overthinking, about noticing what's happening around us, about trusting ourselves, about affection, about forgiveness, and maybe most importantly, about authenticity. Animals aren't pretending. A dog isn't sitting there thinking, I wonder what everybody expects me to do today. A cat isn't worried about whether it looks cool. They're simply themselves. And there's something incredibly freeing about that. Be yourself. I've been thinking a lot lately about authenticity, about how much energy we spend trying to be what other people want us to be. Maybe we're afraid someone won't like us. Maybe we're afraid we'll be judged. Maybe we're afraid of being different. So we change. We hide. We pretend. We make ourselves smaller. But what if being completely yourself is actually where your peace begins? Animals don't apologize for being who they are. Maybe we shouldn't apologize for being ourselves either. Okay, here's your coffee with Mimi challenge of the day. If you have an animal in your life, spend a few quiet minutes with them. Don't worry about your phone. Don't worry about your to-do list. Just sit, pet them, talk to them, or don't talk at all. Watch them, notice them, and notice how you feel while you're doing it. And if you don't have an animal, go outside, sit somewhere quiet, watch the birds, look for squirrels, listen to the sounds around you, watch the clouds, just be present. Because sometimes we don't need another distraction. We need a moment where we actually notice life happening. Okay, one last thought. I don't know exactly what animals understand about us, and I'm okay with not knowing. Maybe they sense our emotions. Maybe they're reading subtle things in our body language and our voices. Maybe there's something about connection that we haven't completely figured out yet. But I do know this: animals can make us feel. They can make us laugh. They can comfort us. They can calm us. They can teach us patience. And they can remind us to simply be present. And maybe that's their gift. They don't have to understand our entire story to sit beside us while we're living it. So, honey, the next time an animal comes up to you, or curls up beside you, or looks at you with those big eyes, take a second, slow down, notice them, and maybe ask yourself, what are they teaching me right now? Because sometimes the smallest teachers have 4 legs. Thank you so much for sharing a cup of coffee with me. And until next time, take care of you and take care of each other.